Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you two?
Phenomenal.
Hey, what are you guys doing today?
Just hanging out on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah,
Comic,
Queen City Bookstore, Main and Winspear.
Hey, have you folks had a chance to see the some Avengers film that recently ran?
There was a little film called Avengers Endgame that came out.
Yeah, we caught it with the family, you know.
Give us a little snippet on it.
Phenomenal. An
was-
epic conclusion
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
to
Perfect-
21 movies.
A perfect sequel. You can't argue. You have nothing to complain about.
Beautifully shot.
All your questions are answered.
All questions are answered.
Yeah. Looking forward to the future on this?
Definitely looking forward to the future
Oh,
on this.
yes.
The future's going to be interesting. We understand which movies are coming. Like, obviously, there's going to be another Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
Obviously, there's going to be another Black Panther movie. There's going to be another Captain Marvel movie. I'm more thinking about what's coming in the later future. Fantastic Four, X-Men. When are they going to integrate those characters into the landscape of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? So, my guess is that they're going to pump the brakes on X-Men, because the X-Men's final film is coming out this month,
Yeah,
or this
Dark
year
Phoenix.
sometime. So, they're going to probably showcase Fantastic Four. All right, you ready?
You ready, brother?
Okay. Emil, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm feeling phenomenal.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
As usual, that's good spirits. I like to hear that. It brings my day up, too. I'm really happy about that.
So, welcome to another episode of The Weigh-In,
The weigh-in.
where all drinks are half price.
And always flowing.
So, today we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Spoiler. This is a spoiler review, so if you have not seen the movie yet, you have been warned.
Exactly. We've already done a few other little episodes on this. We talked about some different things. But this one is really sort of the proper review, and with some careful analyzations and things of that nature, I think we've come up with some interesting observations and analogies and things. And some of the things that are really quite interesting. This crosses my mind, too, about Captain America. One of the things that really stands out. You know, in his time-traveling decision to stay in the past with his girlfriend, would that not eradicate everybody's timeline from, like, say, World War II and forward? I don't know how they're going to make that all work, because comics, this is what happens, and we know, but that's still a ramification that needs an ending.
Yeah, so I haven't looked at the articles, but to the best of my knowledge and from what I remember from the movie, Bruce Banner said that the changes that we make to the past will not affect the future. So when Cap went back in time at the end of Avengers Endgame to go replace the stones, and instead of coming back to live his regular life, he decided to stay in the past with Peggy, marry her. Like, that is actually, like, it's now continuity.
That's good, okay. So hopefully there'll be a proper explanation of that, because that's it seems like a glaring error at the first glimpse, but maybe it's not, right?
No. It's planned out, and down the line they will explain it even further.
There's a lot of things in the film that we all obviously enjoyed immensely, and those are the things that we've chosen to maybe not necessarily over-exemplify, but I thought we would touch upon a couple other things that were really quite solid in the film. Now, you know, Tony Stark's death was the most legitimate death, without a doubt.
I think that the writers and the directors did a phenomenal job of subverting expectations, because everybody was like, Cap's gonna die, and me being a huge Captain America fan, I'm like, they better not kill Steve Rogers.
Oh, same here.
They better not kill Steve Rogers, and they didn't.
And they didn't. I'm happy about that.
We all thought that Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., being the mega powerhouse that he is as far as acting star power goes, that Marvel would never kill this character off, and they did. So both those paid off very well.
Yeah, those are quite surprising. And, you know, and some other things, too, is possibly there's a lot of great scenes, per se, in the film.
A lot of great scenes in this
But
movie.
I really like when Tony actually comes to realization with his father, Hank, and stuff, and he meets him there and everything.
Yes.
Quite amazing.
Yes.
You know, I thought he was going to cry for a brief moment, but he definitely felt it. And I think it actually brought him back to earth a little bit, because, you know, it's been a little rocky, right, between the comics and what he's done in the movies. He's been sort of not loved. You know, Captain America called him out a few times, but, you know, I think it works well.
No, Tony getting that moment of clarity and insight that his father wasn't all bad after all, that was definitely pivotal for his character arc, and you kind of needed that to end it off because that was such a major component that shaped his behavior and personality going forward as Iron Man. I thought it was beautiful. It tied everything up with a bow.
It was really beautiful because they were foreshadowing where it was all going to go. Because at this time in the film, obviously, he hasn't sacrificed for the team and for the world and the universe. Actually.
And if you remember in Avengers 1, Cap called him out on that. He's like, "Yo, you're not the guy that's going to lay down on the line," and Tony's like, "Maybe I just cut the wire,"
Yeah.
But it ended up showing that Tony would give his life for the team and for the world, the universe, I guess.
Well, it's of all the things that have taken place in all these Marvel movies for the last decade, one of the things that clearly stands out the most to me, I think you'll agree, is the fact that there's certain films that actually move the pure Avengers narrative along beautifully. It seems to be the Russo brother films and that particular creative team, that writer, that musical score and everything, because all the actual stories in there, the most important content that plays out to the ending of the Endgame film. And I think it's interesting that those guys did a little bit more planning than I even thought halfway through. 5-6 years in, I didn't think they really knew where they were going.
Very meticulous and very well drawn out and thought out, like superb, like craftsmanship at the highest level.
Yeah, well, there's a couple other things too that are fantastic. I actually like the fact that what's his name there? That actor, I can't think of his name. He showed up there. What's Sam Wilson's the gentleman, the proper
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. Sorry, Anthony, buddy. Love you. Just forgot about you for a minute there. Yeah, I was thinking about some other things related to these different lineup changes that we saw at the end of the movie. We're looking at the old lineup compared to where the replacements could possibly be.
The old guard is shifting for a new guard.
It definitely has. Now, some of my concerns were that maybe the Avengers sort of being emasculated a little bit by the writers because of the world we live in, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
In some ways, it looks like it on paper. Maybe it is a little bit, but it's not disastrous. But there
not at all.
Some of these comparisons that I have in my mind, I'd like to get out. Like we talked about, Sam Wilson, obviously, Mr. Mackie replacing the Captain America. I don't think you want to throw out the Falcon character, so I think it's a temporary change. Where the gentleman who plays the Winter Soldier, I think that fella is obviously, when he gets his character cleaned up a little bit, he should possibly pop back into the Captain America role.
Yeah, you got to think about this, though. You got to think about the actual continuity of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So where the general populace left Bucky Barnes off at, him being the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So you can't really just throw him in as Captain America and say, like, yo, he was here for the Endgame battle. So, like, there needs to be, like, a redemptive arc for that character. So Sam Wilson, who was a military man, who just now he just assumed and he just took the appellation of Captain America, changing and modifying, his superhero persona of the Falcon. You have to take that as a kind of a logical rite of passage, because
I like it that way.
Sam for the most part is on, not on the out and out. He was a fugitive, I guess, at a point when he was running around during the time of, post, Civil War to pre, Infinity War. But yeah, no, I think that the world's ready for a black Captain America.
Oh, I definitely agree. Now, the Hulk thing's a real interesting one. We went from the monstrous Hulk, you could call him the immortal Hulk, a little nod for the comic.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have, in my personal opinion, the size change is laughable, and the corny glasses, it almost seems like a bad joke.
He seems like the everybody loves Raymond version of the Incredible Hulk.
Right.
That to me was the oddest change. It didn't land right with me.
Well, it didn't land with a lot of people. I mean, and also the Hulk in the persona of the stronger Hulk, he's not really doing much in the Infinity Wars movie.
He's not hulking out. No, not at all.
And in this movie here, he hit the bad arm, which I hear might not be getting fixed for a while.
I did see an article that stated that. But so going back to Infinity War, in that first 20 minutes, where Thanos beat the Hulk up, he whooped Hulk's ass, like he gave it to Hulk. So everybody was expecting for Hulk to come back and maybe go to Savage Hulk, or one of the different, stronger versions of the Hulk who's more angry, and we didn't get that.
No.
That didn't sit well with me. I wanted to see one last. I don't know what the fate of this iteration of Hulk is, but like I wanted to see one last Hulk out, like where he really goes insane and shows us
Sure,
the true power.
like he could have contributed to the
Incredible
actual
Hulk.
whooping that
Yes.
Thanos got in the second film. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, I think then the arm thing was kind of weird too. So it really seems like it's some kind of a planned weakening of the character. It just seems something's a little awry here or astray.
And what we mean about what something seems awry is that the Incredible Hulk has a healing factor that is comparable almost to Wolverine. So if you know about Wolverine, he can pretty much heal from everything and anything. This is the same with the Hulk. So having Hulk injured for a prolonged amount of time just seems a little bit odd. But if this is how they're sewing up, the 22 prior films, then I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, let it be. Well, that 5-year period after the snap and everything, there's a lot of things that we don't know took place. Things to do with radiation and stuff from the other atmospheres around the world in the infinite universes. So I mean, they got a lot to play with. They laid a lot of narrative there, which is nice. So that one hopefully will work itself out. It does seem a little strange, almost like the Thor one. When Thor turns into the Lebowski Thor, it's funny. You laugh a little bit for about 15, 20 minutes. But again, I think it's a little bit of a sad usage of one of the most powerful Avengers, like the Hulk.
Yeah.
Maybe even embarrassing there too.
Yeah, I don't know if they had these things planned out or if they came up with these things like ex nihilo, but I just didn't like the direction that they went with Thor. From Thor Ragnarok, I just kind of accept what they're doing with Thor now, but I just didn't like that iteration. I was able to. It was more pliable than the Everybody Loves Raymond version of Hulk.
Yeah.
I can deal with it, but it still didn't sit well with me.
Well, it
Like
seems
Lebowski Thor.
Yeah, the Lebowski Thor is a quirky one, but it just gives you the impression that there's something bigger going on behind the scenes. I just hope that the team could look good on film and actually still be solid and whatnot. We talked about Iron Man's passing was absolutely fantastic. Hawkeye, get a little vision of his daughter in that particular role, which is cool.
She may be replacing him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with his TV show coming up, maybe he's going to be making more cameos in the movies, as opposed to regular appearances.
And that could be in a Phase 4.
Yeah, and what actually could happen too? I just thought about this the other day, and I didn't have it in my original notes or anything, but there's a good possibility that Red Ronin could turn into a bit of a vigilante character from this point on. He might actually be at outs with the group. It's feasible because he's been a little messed up mentally because of all the damage and everything.
They definitely played into that, so that definitely could be a factor. Or they could just bench him. He's got his family back. He could be A-OK. But I feel like the effects of Endgame are not going to have as tight of a wrap up as we all think. I think there's going to be some ramifications because it just makes for good story.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, at least we know that he has a TV show coming up on the Marvel Universe, and we know, and so does Black Widow, and that's the last character I wanted to mention. She's always been a bit underappreciated.
Black Widow's got a movie coming up. She doesn't have a show.
Correct. I'm sorry to mention that, though. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. But I just wonder if her death, which I thought was a little senseless in some ways, but somebody had to sacrifice for that particular stone.
I felt the same. I didn't know who was going to be, but I felt the same way.
But again, maybe it has something to do with the fact that whatever happens in her film and everything and what she's working on. So maybe she needed a little time to film, her show, her movie.
Yeah.
So you got to back them out a little bit. So, but these are important questions to think about and talk about. These things always come up after something this intense comes up. Was there any other things that crossed your mind about this film that were more questionable than anything?
Obviously, there were big points in this movie that that paid off a lot of Easter eggs, and there was a lot of servicing of the fans. Obviously, the Captain America picking up Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but you know what it is. That was phenomenal. That was obviously a nod back to Avengers Age of Ultron, where he budges it, So they made a point throughout that movie talking about, because Vision lifted it, so if Vision's worthy and the elevator joke is the elevator.
Cap got super worthy.
But yeah,
this film.
And what I was trying to explain to people as well is that he was able to call down the lightning because the inscription on the hammer said, "He whoever be so worthy, will possess the powers of Thor."
Correct.
So they not only do you get to lift the hammer, you get all the accompanying powers that come with it. So I thought that was a good nod. the callbacks to the movies, like where Captain America says "Hail Hydra" when he's in the elevator.
Fantastic moment.
Just fantastic moment.
It was so
that
good.
just it blindsided you like 3 a.m. like on the highway, but by a Mack truck. Like you just don't expect it to come, and it's so beautiful.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic because in the regular movie when we saw the scene, we know there's the big rumble in there. Does anybody want to get out? So I'm thinking, how are they going to play with this scene? Are we going to get like a second round to it or something?
I was hoping. I was really hoping. I was like, I want to see Cap do something.
But all those dudes, they all start looking at him, and he's got the straight face. They're going like, when are we going to fucking throw it out with this dude?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And he whispers in, what's his name? The skull in his chest.
And he just.
I love that actor, by the way. He's pretty good. He does a lot of action
It's
films.
the guy that plays Crossbones. He's a phenomenal actor. He's actually a fighter in real life. But yeah, he whispers over, and they just let him waltz out, with the Tesseract.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
just like, he's one of us.
See you at the bar later.
Yeah. Another great moment is when, once again with Captain America, he's fighting himself, and and then like the self from the past is like, what are you, tired? I can do this all day. So just another great callback to the first movie, and also the Winter Soldier movie. I think it came in, or no, it came Civil War, where he's fighting Tony. He says that line, but such a great callback.
It really is quite good.
They brought back Robert Redford.
Yep. Oh yeah, all those people came back.
Yeah, they brought back Natalie Portman, Renee Russo.
I know, right?
Yeah. Just having
that was nice to see
star
that.
quality of actor come back, that was awesome. That was definitely awesome. What else was big in that movie? I thought Ant-Man had the greatest acting progression. Like when he was
that first hour or so.
Yeah, when he was at the tombstone area or the memorial area looking for like his daughter and his wife's name, I felt the panic. I felt the dread. I felt like it was a lot of emotions that we don't normally get to see out of Paul Rudd. So he had a tiny part, but he had a big role. Yeah. If you want to say. So I thought that was awesome too.
And he had some good lines too. The best line on the time traveling thing was like, "So you mean to tell me that Back to the Future was fake?"
yeah. No.
It's like the other films he knows they're fake, right?
Such a good line.
Yeah. Simple but great.
When you hear Sam say "Cap on your left," a call back to Winter Soldier,
and
then like you see Doctor Strange and all the time portals come out, and then all Avengers. Then you finally get to hear Cap say, "Avengers assemble." Such a good line.
Yeah, a couple last things I wanted to mention before we wrap this episode up is I hope that that we're not going to come across something that Marvel might have forced upon the fans, like a different kind of narrative midway through all this. I shouldn't say midway through, but obviously at the end of a big cycle, and because I don't want to really see any bad ramifications come with the rest of the films from this far out, from this point out. And also another thing too is there looks like there's going to be some structural changes in the way people live and the society of life and all that stuff, and that deals with pandering. So I hope that they don't try to over pander to causes and things.
No. I don't
get too political. Well, just my fear. I hope you can. What do you think?
No, I don't think they will. I think it's going in a good direction, and that we're going to be okay. So everybody, thank you very much. That was the weigh-in.
See you next week. Thank you.
If I had to start a company, John Wick would be Employee of the Month.
for our year.
for the year. Yeah. There's, like, when I watch a movie, like, I take away different things that most people do. So, when I seen John Wick, the first thing I thought was, like, this dude's Employee of the Month. If not the year, if not the Lifetime Award. The two things that stand out is effort and precision. Like, he puts an ungodly, unheard of amount of effort into finishing the job. Now, his job is being a hitman, so knocking dudes off, But that and the level of precision that he takes when he's conducting a job, unheard of. I would hire this dude in a heartbeat.